Hi Scorpio, this is your reconciliation reading for September 2019. Everything you need to know about this reading is in the description box below, as well as the link to the Recommend a Reader shout out, which is the Crossroads Tarot. Love and support to her. Check her out. Show her some love and support if you like what she has to say. This is intended to be a positive reading. It's not like some, unwanted person from the past is pursuing you and you're like, oh God, what now? No, this is like wanted on both sides. And this is either already underway or it's coming, and this is like the nitty gritty behind it. So that's one. And then this is also intended for a romantic love reading, but it could be in another area of your life. So it could resonate otherwise in another area of your life. But it's intended for me reading it romantic love. All right. And positive. All right, Scorpio, because I do the other. I do plenty of the other readings where it's like, what's going on here? We don't know either way. Could be positive, could be negative. This one is intended to be positive. All right, Scorpio, reconciliation. What is it? Scorpio. All right, Scorpio, reconciliation for Scorpio, September. Four of Swords. Two of Swords, Knight of Swords, I'm going to do this right here, Nine of Wands, Death card, Three of Swords, Three of Wands, sorry, Six of Swords, the Devil, and the Hanged Man. All right, so we got two sixes. Well, somebody's frustrated, I get it. So there's frustration, but there's also kind of like all's quiet. All is quiet, even though there's frustration and irritability and there's still like this kind of veneer of calm. So what is going on here? Like, what is someone restless, waiting for a decision? All right. What's this Two of Swords about? What's this Two of Swords about? This is someone that's going to reach out online. Probably unexpectedly so. I think this is someone that is going to want you to be, is going to want, like, let's just do this right now. Let's just go. I think they're going to want immediate consent or action. Looks like you two have been kind of intermittently going back and forth, if not taking, or have been on a break. So this is someone coming back because at the end of the day, they realize that, or they feel like you're somebody that they need to tell you how they feel. They just need to go for it. They just need to, you know what? I'm going to take control of this situation. And I think they want you to, the thing that worries me, I say it's positive and then I drop a bomb. It's not really a bomb, but I just worry that they're going to want you to know right now. Like, let's do this. I've waited long enough. I'm finally ready to tell you how I feel. And they also are going to want a decision from you right away. And you're like, well, what if I'm involved with something? Like, I can't just drop everything. They might be a bit impatient. And you're like, no. It's going to take some time. Like, I've got to figure out how I feel first and then deal with my situation. This is someone that does not want to let you go. And I think they think that because they're finally ready, that you should be ready as well. And it's going to be a process instead of just right here, right now, let's take off to such and such. Nope, got to be a process. I think they want to know that you have moved on from, I think they want to know that you've let go and moved on you must have been mad at them because I think they feel like they've waited long enough. and they finally come forward. But it's also probably the reason why you might be a little frustrated with them is because they have been so passive in the past, and that's why there's been this rift, because you're like, you know what, you didn't engage with me. Like, you needed to be more assertive, you needed to be more tell me what you want and take action to move towards that with me or for me or what. But you didn't commit, you didn't do anything, you just kind of let stuff happen, and because of that we kind of just fell apart. And so now you're coming to me going, okay, I know what I want, that's great, but it's still going to take time. You can't just be like, oh, I know what I want, let's do this now. No, we're not at that stage yet. All right, so what's this Two of Swords? What's this Two of Swords? Eight of Swords. What's this Nine of Wands? What's this Nine of Wands? King of Cups. That could be Pisces. Could be dealing with Capricorn, Pisces, Scorpio, Aquarius. I read that as Aquarius. What's this Three of Wands? Queen of Cups. Look at that. Wow. Okay. All right. So this is someone that's realized they needed to tell you how they felt, and they needed to be more assertive and take action about what they wanted instead of being so guarded, and so like feeling like withholding gave them more power than connection with you gave them more power. So this is a difference between trying to control rather than connect. And this is someone that's realized, okay, maybe that's not what I should have been doing. But then coming in hot like this and going, okay, I know I shouldn't have done that, but I want this now. I don't know. Still gotta wait. A little impatient. What's this Hangman about? What's this Hangman about? The World. You see, there's that taking. It's going to need to take time to be able to transition. This isn't going to get resolved overnight. This person has taken a long time to get where they are now, so to expect you to hop to it just because they are kind of forthcoming with all this information, it's going to be a process. Somebody likes to kind of have what they want when they want it. Yeah. What's this devil about? What's this devil about? The Emperor. Okay, so someone liking to have what they want when they want it. Yeah, that can be kind of about control, you know. This could be somebody that has decided you are a better fit with them than what they had been involved with prior, whether it's work, whether it's a friendship circle, family, another person romantically. This is someone that is doing an about face. This is someone that has decided, and now let's take off like a rocket, and you're like, nope, this is going to take time. This needs to be a process. What's this Death card about? For Scorpio, what's this Death card? So they realize, you know, and I don't know if they realize it or not, but what I'm seeing here is that this person was, there was kind of this, they were selfish. Just going to say it. This could be Aries. Aries or Capricorn. They were selfish. They took your devotion and your desire and whatnot for granted. And that happens. I mean, it's not that they were mean-spirited. It's just that I think that's dawning on them now. But even their approach is still very expectant. Like, okay, I get it now. Yeah, it's going to take time. And we got the Star, taking time, the Star card. So I think this is about them wanting you to believe and trust, and okay, you got to believe me. Yeah, but it's going to take time. You got to give me time, and I need to see over time that you are trustworthy, that you are someone that is that's willing to do the give and take, that can be relied upon, that I can depend on you. Not like before where you're just really not assertive about anything. You were kind of reaping the rewards without really committing either way, or you know what I mean? Someone that was just kind of like lying down and taking it, or just kind of letting whatever happen, because it didn't do them any good to be assertive about it. It didn't do them any good to say what they wanted, which it feels like you were a low priority because they had so much more going on in their life. And now they're finally ready to choose you, as it were. And I think they're rather expectant. And that's the only thing that bothers me here, is that you can't just kick the door in and, you know, I'm ready. Okay, well, have a seat. I'll be with you in a minute. Might take me a minute here. What's this Six of Swords? What's this Six of Swords? Okay. What's this Knight of Swords? Gosh, they feel like they're so impatient. Oy. Queen of Wands. So this could be Leo. This could be Aries. So this is someone that needs to slow their roll and understand that it's going to take time, and you're going to need time to decide. And it's not about them finally deciding like you've been waiting for them to decide. I think this is going to be almost like a shock to them. Like, you mean you've been having a life and doing things without me? Or like, you don't know if there's room in your life for me right now? Like, what do you mean? And I think that might be kind of like them going, wait, what? Like, why is this going to take transition? Why is this going to take time? Why don't you just immediately trust me? I'm coming to you now, and you're like, yeah, but it kind of counted months ago when you should have been able, or like on my time frame at least, you know, when this is Scorpio's time frame, I mean, like when because it almost looks like when it mattered to you that they chose you or that they committed, they didn't. They could have made room. They could have made the decision. They could have, you know, lessened their workload. There were changes in their life. Whatever was keeping them from you, they could have done it back then, but they didn't. Not because they couldn't, because they didn't. At the end of the day, it's because they made different choices. They chose differently. They did not choose you. And that's what I want you to understand. Because that's why I feel like, okay, you know what? Awesome that they're ready, but they're coming in with an expectant attitude. And that bothers me because this is working. Once again, this is about them first. And when they could have chose you before or chosen you, they didn't. It's not that they couldn't, it's that they didn't. Now that they are choosing you, why? That's what I want you to look at. Because just because they've got their ducks in a row now and they're ready, okay, but what choices, what is affecting that choice now that they weren't willing to do before? If it's work, fine. But if it's because they were getting the benefits of, how am I going to say it without it sounding like this person's a jerk? Because I don't think they're a jerk. I just think they're kind of in the habit of putting themselves first always. They might even be self-absorbed. And while you might have grown to love this person and whatnot, it still is going to be one of those things that they need to know, okay, look, if we're going to work, that's why I think it's going to take time, because you're like, you know what, okay, but if this is going to work, it's about both of us being committed to the same goal. It's not about when you're ready, here I am, and I just jump to it. And I think there's a lot going on here because it feels like they're coming to you on the heels of some kind of falling out or some other kind of part of their life that stopped working for them. I'll say it that way. Whether it's a breakup, whether it's being fired, something happened over here that now they're coming to you. Now, what if whatever ended or happened, they got fired, they got relocated, they quit, they moved out, something has shifted and changed over here. So now all of a sudden they're coming to you and they're ready, but why? What didn't they make room for before that they are now? And why all of a sudden are you something they're ready for? For some of you, it could be because of what you could give them or what you could do for them. And that's not a reason to reconcile with somebody. And I know, don't get mad. Well, you're probably already mad. I said before, okay, this is intended to be positive, yay. But there's pitfalls here, let's be honest. So the fact that they're ready, it's going to depend on you and your situation as to why, because this is general, right? But this is not someone that lived overseas and couldn't get to you. This is someone that chose not to involve themselves with you before. And this doesn't feel like they just had a really busy schedule and they're now ready. This feels like they kept you on a string and knew what it did to you, and now they're ready. Whereas knowing what it was doing to you, the toll it took on you before, they still didn't make the choice. That bothers me. That's what's sticking with me. So, and I know I'm probably preaching to the choir because you're like, yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I'm mad too. Okay, it's not that I'm mad. I feel like there's a bit of selfishness or self-serving here. And I feel like they just didn't understand how important this was to you then. And now that you're kind of transitioning out of this, they're coming up and expecting everything to be fine, and you're like, it's not that simple. I feel hurt or betrayed that I was not important enough for you to choose back then when it would have mattered most. So it's not that they're bad. It's just that they were very self-serving. And if you can understand that, because you're like, well, I would have done the same thing in a situation, whatever that situation is, okay. I just don't want it to be like, oh, they're finally here and romance can blossom. And it never is that way with me, is it? I don't read that way. But I just don't want you to be starting with your eyes closed on this one. This is going to take time. This person's going to need to learn patience. And they're going to need to be, if they truly are ready, then it's going to be about compromise and going back and forth and deciding as you go, because it's not going to be like they're finally ready and then you hop to it. It's too late for that. That could have happened 4 months ago. I don't know why I get 4 months. Could have happened 4 months ago. But now that they're ready, it feels like, honestly, you don't know what you want. There's very strong connection here with this person, but you're not so sure anymore. You're not so sure anymore for some reason. So this will be your choice, and this person is going to need to learn patience with you. All right. Because there is like it's almost like this, it could go either way, and it's going to depend on what you make of it, but it's going to be your idea. You're going to be the one deciding at this point, and your person's going to be kind of being expectant and waiting. But depending on what you decide is what's going to happen, whether you're going to get back together or not. But you've still got some thinking and transitioning to do out of this. It's not that this couldn't come at a worse time. No, it's just that you've already been kind of dealing with this and thinking about this and transitioning with this and kind of reshaping and remaking and all that, going through this transition, and then this comes in and you're like, this kind of complicates things. Like, this just adds more for me to think about, because I was just starting to adjust to the idea that it didn't work out or it wasn't going to work out. And now they come in and they're like, yeah, forget all about that. It's fine. Forget it. There's this impatience, and you're like, I can't forget it. Like, that's just not realistic. So definitely, this person is definitely going to need to learn some patience and compromise. And you're not the same person that they didn't choose last time. You're different because of that. So they're going to have to acclimate to that as well. What else for Scorpio? Whoopsie. Okay, so we've got this one right here. All right, let me put it like that. The 9 of Cups. That's a very situational wish being granted. It's like, yay, the person texted, or yay, I got the such and such I wanted, or it's situational. This is not a long-term goal. It's not like, it's just a wish being granted. It's like, oh, we got tickets to the such and such or whatever. Things work out. It's a good evening, a good date, a fun time, it was a happy memory, that sort of thing. This is also someone that lives in the moment and does what they want. They put themselves first, and they're always very self-satisfied. Like, it's kind of like this is their pursuit, their focus is just being happy. So on the one hand, this could be about, they finally get their wish, your wish is finally granted, but then it's almost like, now what? Because what you finally wanted is here. Someone finally is ready. But then there's the now what, because this is not about long term. This is about situational happiness. So, okay, you got what you wanted, but now what? And it's going to depend on you. It really is. It's going to depend on, there's been a shift here, and it's about you. And I feel like your answer is going to be like, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know what I want. It's going to take me some time. I need to think about it. What else for Scorpio? What else for Scorpio? Okay, so we've got 7 of Wands reversed. And we've got, oh, it's going that way because it wasn't like that. It was like this. Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups and 7 of Wands reversed. Okay, so this is someone that is wanting, it's not, okay, it's not defeat, but it's almost like they gave in to their emotions, but they kind of feel like they've come full circle, and they weren't, whatever they were involved with before, work, school, family, like there's something that, whatever happened over here, whatever this is, it was not emotionally fulfilling. And it was starting to get into like negative, it was starting to become codependent, or starting to become all. Like maybe they were turning into a workaholic, or their family was just sucking the life out of them with no emotional reward. Like one of those, you know, you have a couple of family members that just have no regard for your time or schedule, or you're trying to make something of yourself, and they just want from you, and they expect you here, and you got to do this. And so whatever was going on, it wasn't emotionally fulfilling. And it's kind of like they just got overwhelmed, and they walked away, and they landed on your doorstep, quite literally, because you have you're home to them. There's a deep rooted connection here. You are a source of comfort, and you are a source of familiarity and emotional connection and healing. So part of the reason why they're also arriving now is because they just want to be happy, and they were really overwhelmed and not happy where they were coming from. So here they come, wanting that happiness, wanting that reconnection. I know what I want now, let's do this. And you're like, it's not that simple. And it can't just be because you want to feel better in the moment. It's not that simple. If you want to do this, we will see over time. Let's just take it day by day. Because there's a connection here. It's just that this person needs patience. They need to learn patience and compromise, and that it's going to take two. It's about both, not just you kind of being in service of or supporting this person. And there's, don't get me wrong, there's an affection here. There's like a familiarity and an affection. But it's like you've known this person a long time, and enough time has passed to where you want an adult relationship with them. Quite simply, you want an adult relationship, a give and take. This would have been fine when you were a teenager, you know, or like an adolescent, but now as a young adult or older, like you really think in different terms as far as partnership and reciprocity. And the time, its time has come for you two to transition, or this will be the last straw. You know what I mean? Because you've changed. You want something different now. So in a way, it's almost like them showing up kind of compounds things, because you're like, oh God, not this too. But in a way, it's also perfect timing, because you're like, well, it is something I've been thinking about a lot, and here you show up. So let's work this out. Let's see where it goes. All right. What else for Scorpio? What's for Scorpio? I didn't do this one already, did I? Moon. Oh, it was Luna. It says Luna. So that is all about things need to be made clear. There needs to be some heart-to-hearts, because it really is kind of a surprise when they do show up after having done this about face. There's more to it than that, and there needs to be some discussions. There needs to be some sort of illusions cleared up. That this might have been a relationship where it was kind of like unclear. There weren't a lot of, and there was just, everything was kind of like, you knew you had this connection, but it wasn't, you just kind of were, you know, quietly waiting and patiently until, and patiently until that didn't work anymore. But nothing was ever broken up or set in stone. It was kind of like this silent understanding. Well, it's time to clear the air. It's time to get things grounded. That doesn't work anymore. That's not going to work anymore. Things being unsaid, things being expected, being understanding. No, it's time to communicate needs, desires, what you want, what your plans are, that sort of thing, and then see where it goes. And just because they show up and go, I'm ready, this, and this, that's all well and good, but it has to be beyond this. And it can't be in reaction or rebound to the falling out of whatever it was over here. Because you're not a nurse. I mean, you're not like a triage. I mean, all right. Okay, Scorpio. Good gracious, 25 minutes. I hope this was helpful. And I hope to see you in, this could be Cancer, by the way. Aquarius, boobies. Everything's better with boobies. Cancerian, sorry. Aquarius, Leo, Aquarius, Aries, Capricorn, Aries, Pisces. I think I got everybody. Scorpio, Pisces. Okay, so I hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next reading. You take care, and you take as much time as you need, and you give this some thought. You know this situation best, obviously, but don't feel rushed, please. Took a while for it to get this way, so it's going to take a while for you two to hash this out. All right, you take care.